Greetings, citizens of the Imperium. Welcome to another series of Let's Paint. I'm your host, Trooper6. And as you saw, of course, from the thumbnail, we have a peculiar case for the Sanguine Heresy. We have some black shields that have been turned to Primaris. Now, how could that ever be a thing? Stick around and let's find out together. We also have what I considered to be a minor funny idea, was to put him on a lovely green field. Look at that. I feel like he would have just contrasted that very nicely. And we're also going to treat ourselves to a brand new paint pot of Black Templar. This contrast paint, it'll be fantastic. I even have some Krieg khaki that I was considering for that little purity seal. So what do you say we just jump right on in? Because, of course, I primed everything in gray instead of... come on! There you go. Instead of priming them in black. Now, why did I do that? One, I wasn't thinking. I was just kind of in automatic mode. But it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because the one... wow, I can't think. I really can't think right now. The one, maybe this needs to be shaken up even more. The one black shield that I did, that y'all saw on my shorts reel, he is Primaris. All that true brass that I used came out just a little difficult. It was a bit difficult to do. So I was trying to avoid that. You know, subconsciously I was trying to avoid it. I didn't even think about it. I was honestly just priming this bad boy. Kind of how it is. However, that being said, it is a blessing in disguise because this will help us. Because when you look up black shields, now, black shields are exactly what you might think that they're going to be wearing. Black. However, with the Games Workshop models that they had, revealed to everyone, they sure do have a lot of brass. And that's not just saying. They got a lot of brass on them, and we were going to employ that technique or that color scheme here today. Because why not? We're using a very wide brush here. I'm not sure how long I'm going to stick with this one. But we are using... Sorry, pausing for music already. Good Lord. Ah, I see what happened. Internet kind of went down on us, so we got a quiet background at the moment. Alright, anyway. Already forgot what I was saying. I'm sure it was important. Our color scheme, though, is of course going to be this black. You can use Black Legion, Black Templar, a matte black. I don't really care. But we're also going to be using Army Painter True Brass. Now, you guys got to see this being used ever so slightly when it came to my Obsidian Suns. And I woke up this morning to a little bit of a lore suggestion from one of my Pongolians, and I gotta say it was a good idea. I liked it. He said, if you're considering them being a fleet-based chapter, that they would have a lot of Terminators, and I think that would be an interesting touch for them. And I couldn't agree more. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Sorry, I was brain farting. Then he had an idea for blue helmets, just to further contrast things for new recruits. And I was like, I like this idea. However, I'm going to redeploy your idea to the sergeants. Because as many of you might know, Ultramarines is a great example. Ultramarine sergeants usually wear a red helmet. and I've seen other chapters use this. And if I'm not mistaken, a red helmet used to not be a good symbol. I don't exactly remember what it was, but as I understood it, it was kind of like a disgrace. It's kind of like a dishonor to you. You know, you were still allowed to be what you were, but it was still kind of a dishonor. Much like a Night Lord with his hands painted or tattooed red, and then therefore with his armor. You know, because Sevatar was disgraced this way by Kurz himself. And I thought, you know, this blue helmet idea, I really do like the blue contrasting with the white, or I mean with the black and the bronze and brass. So I'm going to take your idea, and I think we should use it toward the sergeants. So I have a feeling it'll work very well. When it comes to the recruits, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, it won't be scouts, because scouts don't be wearing helmets. But that's okay. And man, I am thrown off by this quiet room right now, because, well, I never paint in silence, ever. Ever. There's hardly ever a silent moment in this house. Hardly ever been a silent moment in my life. So this is weird. But the reason the internet is having a hard time today is because, well, I live out in the sticks and it's raining. So we still have to deal with things like that. The internet will go down because of weather. I'm thinking about employing a brass knee. I almost thought about doing a brass shin right here. I feel like that would be kind of cool. I mean, I still need to get the back of his calf right here. But I'm thinking that might be kind of cool to do. It's an interesting decision. Oh, now I kind of remember what I was getting at earlier. When it came to, well, I probably already finished that thought, but still, when Games Workshop was revealing the Black Shields, I was terribly excited. Terribly. I was so excited for it. And I was very confused. I'm like, hold on, these are Black Shields. Why do they have, sure, it's just brass, but why do they have so much color on them? What are you doing? Why are we doing? And I was like, you know what? Whatever. And who says a Black Shield can't paint their armor whatever damn color they want? Because they really can. I'm sure you could find somebody out there. Somebody who just, they're considered a Black Shield because of what they are, not because of their color scheme. But speaking of which, for what they are, so of course we all know what Black Shields are in the Horus Heresy. And these Black Shields, even though they are Primaris, more or less are the same line of thought. However, kind of piggybacking off of the Death Watch idea, excuse me, that these guys are not exactly your most sought after Marines. These are guys that would have been problem child, slight exile of their chapter. You know, this is their punishment, or this is what they wanted. That they willingly leave their chapter. A lot of them will willingly leave their chapter. They will go to the Black Shields. And how they do this is, of course, they scorch their armor. Or they might even get shunted to it. Just as a, well, you're no good to us, sir. However, this does not mean that they are fully disgraced like that. It just means you have a different purpose in life now. These guys will often find themselves with more reason than most to hate heretics. So you have the Death Watch that are expert Xenos hunters. Well, now you have Black Shields that are expert heretic hunters. And of course, you have Grey Knights, which are expert demon hunters. So I kind of felt like I wanted to cover all bases, and I'm pretty sure anybody can hunt heretics. I'm saying that these guys are the top dogs. They got more reason than any. They're very willing to put their life on the line for suicide missions. They will get out there and they will wreak havoc. They will bring the might of the Emperor down on these people. They're here for it. They love it. You know what? Yeah, we're going to go with brass on that. I feel like that would be kind of cool looking. So yes, Black Shields would have, in the Sanguine Heresy, Black Shields would have started out much as the same as any other Black Shield. And I want to say even some of their gene seed is still active, because even the Primaris one that I did, that y'all saw on the shorts, I like to throw my little nods and hints, I guess not even hints, of where these Marines will hail from. And on his backpack, you can see a Roman numeral of just which legion his gene seed is derived of. I very much like that kind of idea. Just something subtle. And we got something here for that too. It will be of the 9th Legion. Because the 9th Legion has a lot to answer for. At least in the eyes of the Imperium in the Sanguine Heresy timeline. I don't know how people honestly feel about alternate timelines. I really don't know. Woo! Excuse me, bless me, what the hell? I'm really not sure how everybody feels about that. I want to say that everybody is okay with it, but again, I don't know. I'm trying to think about this one. We had a bit of a like a motif going on with my thought processes. Sorry, my thought process on certain Marines that I'd been doing lately, and I was wondering if I was going to keep up with that, and we're going to keep up with it. So we just kind of had to freehand a space right there. Because we'll make this bad boy a sergeant. Why not? Been thinking about them lately. I don't think I'd ever really done one. I always go toward like a lieutenant or a captain. A lieutenant more than anything, because captains, I don't know, they're usually some kind of special requirements. They usually have some kind of iconography that I don't really have available to me. You know, like that eagle shoulder that we had for the Obsidian Suns. I don't really have things like that. So I don't really do captains often. And I want to say that's not to say that captains absolutely 100% have to have that. You might find some people that would say otherwise. But like, no, that's a staple. That's what they have, man. Okay. And that would be why I avoided it. That would almost be cool, man. But I'm not going to do that. Sorry, I was thinking out loud again. I spent the first 30 minutes at this table picking out some transfers for this thing. I wanted to make sure that I had my iconography accurate and selected just for him. I wanted him to stand out just a little. Just a little. Not a terribly lot. Just enough. Just enough. Alright. Got that. I'm going to clean this brush off now. And you see, we're not really rushing with it. There's no need to rush through this. My apologies. I did try to blow my nose before the show. Sinuses actually have been a little bit of an issue this morning. So just bear with me, guys. We are making a conscious effort to avoid the sniffles. Because the sniffles is, you know, basic and whatever it is actually kind of annoying. But anyway, I would say among these Marines, you'd even find the mutineers, so borderline traitors. You know, people who are just like, you know what, I have no more faith in this chapter. I do not like how they operate, and I do not wish to be a part of them, but I am no traitor. I am still an angel of the Emperor. I am still for humanity and all of that. So a very thin line to be skating on. But I know they are out there. People who just lose faith in their own chapters. They are out there. And I want to make sure that people like this unfortunate soul that his story is understood, that people do not mistake him for a traitor. Now, I would say there are probably plenty of Astartes who would still look at these Black Shields like traitors, because they would be very well aware of their origins. It's not like they would be hidden like Grey Knights. I would say that they are not the most discussed thing. It's kind of those... They show up and probably some of your more fresh Marines would be like, "Who are they, brother?" They're like, "Ah, yes, the Black Shields." And they go, "What? Black Shields?" Like, yes. If you remember from your psycho indoctrination, maybe some mentions of that in your history lessons and, you know, things like that. I feel like that would have been interesting. But I don't know how you guys would feel about all of that. And ultimately, I guess, yeah, sure, it is my decision. But as I have stated before, and probably plenty of times to the point where it's almost maddening and sickening, this is a living project. This is just as much mine as it is yours. I will say that it is like 5% more mine, because I'm going to have the final say on some things. If you have some ideas that I like, by all means, let's discuss them, and you'll know that that was your input and everything like that. But if I don't like your idea, dude, please do not get upset with me. Just don't. I can understand that you'd be upset that your idea didn't make it. I get it, but you wouldn't. There's no need for unpleasantries. And that's not to say that anybody has had any unpleasantries at this moment that I'm recording this. I have not had a negative interaction with anybody when it comes to this. Woo. Part of me wants to leave that brass. Like, I don't know why, but I kind of want to leave that as brass. I feel like it's a cool look. My mind is still considering certain things. And the reason I hesitate is because those ankles are supposed to be brass. Just to give, the model some balance. Just to give it some balance. And if you look at those pictures, again, if you look at the pictures of Black Shields and whatnot, and how they have some of the brass in certain places, it's quite an interesting take. At least I find that it is. And we're at 1943. So I'm going to finish up this pauldron, and then I'm going to do these two probably off screen, just to catch us up. Because I am trying to keep the series kind of as short as possible. I want to keep it within acceptable levels, you know. It's a black shield. It's not that complicated of a concept. Now, here you can find how ridiculous contrast paints can be. If you could see how uneven, it's even pooled a little bit. Now, that is my fault. You know, thinning your paints could also help. Well, when it comes to a contrast paint, I'm not exactly sure about thinning your paints. But all I have to do is wait for this to kind of dry, and then I can put another coat on there, and then you would never be able to tell. So, I will see you guys on the next round. I think the next round we're going to do the leather work, and then we'll jump into the brass, and we'll be well on our way. And then we can, before we do that brass, we might as well dry brush the model, because I want to dry brush the black and the leather a little bit before I get to the metallics, because I don't want all the dry brushing to hit those metallics and ruin the model. So, with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next round. Please stay happy and healthy. May the Void Father guide your brush, you borderline heretical little... I'm watching y'all. Later.